Hey, what's going on, y'all? This your man Pristine back with another video. Welcome to the Pristine review for the new iPad 2018 6th generation version. Now, this iPad was released about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, and before that, about a week prior to that, it was unveiled by Apple, and pretty impressive little tablet. Nothing that we really haven't seen before from iPad, but basically this is a new budget-friendly iPad that now has some new integrations with it to enhance the experience. Pretty much the whole keynote presentation was dedicated towards education, and so there's a bunch of different apps and things in the App Store that you have access to now that will really help, push education with our youth. And so I think that it's definitely a good look. I know that Apple is definitely trying to make more of a splash in the education market because Chromebook seems to be the top method of the type of tool that is used to really emphasize on child learning and utilized in schools and things of that nature. I know that some schools do use iPads, but apparently not as often as a lot of the Chromebooks. And so it just seems like as far as the education is concerned and the tools that a lot of schools are using for students to utilize, they're using Chromebooks. And so I can understand, why Apple would want to, really push this thing towards that particular direction. Now, price, it's $329.99. So just like last year in 2017, we had the iPad that came out, and it had the specs for that one was good for when it came out. But again, I think that this is the better option because this particular iPad has the better processor in it. And so, but they're both priced the same. That one last year for 2017 was $329.99, and so is this one. Apple is claiming that schools can buy this thing in bundles for $299 a pop, which, I guess that isn't a bad deal if the schools can afford to budget for something like that, to get these in classrooms in the hands of teachers to help teach our children. But nonetheless, that's a really good price point for an iPad. And the fact of the matter is you're not going to find a better tablet out there right now at this price. And that's just it. So Apple, they're really cornering the tablet market right now, with this particular release and frankly with last year's release as well, because I know that when that iPad dropped last year in 2017 for $329.99, that little thing was flying off store shelves. And so it's definitely something that Apple needed because, not sure if you guys are aware of this, but the iPad is basically like the weakest link as far as products that Apple has out for sale. They're making a killing with the iPhones, obviously, the Mac computers, desktops, laptops, all that kind of thing. They're making a lot of money with those things. And although a lot of people have the iPad in their hands, they haven't sold as successfully as Apple thought that they would. And so this was actually a pretty smart move on Apple's behalf to put out an iPad at a much lower cost, and it seems to prove effective as far as sales. And I know that this new iPad in 2018 is doing fairly well according to sources as well. So kudos to Apple. Now, as far as the specs are concerned, we've got the rather than last year, I know we had the A8 chip. This year, we've got the A10 Fusion chip, which is the same processor chip that was in the iPhone 7 and the 7 Plus. And if you can recall, back when that phone was released, it was a beast. It was definitely one of the top processors in its time. And of course, we've evolved from that now, but it's not to say that it's still in 2017. It's not to say that it's a bad processor at all. Now, if you think about the iPad Pros, the 10.5 and the 12.9-inch version that came out last year in 2017, those have the A10X chip in it. So this little iPad right here has the A10 Fusion. The iPad Pros have the A10X chip. So there's not going to be too much of a difference, as far as processing power and things of that nature, with this iPad compared to the iPad Pros. Now, of course, the iPad Pros, I mean, they're going to do a little more because, it's the Pro model, and, Apple has to, keep those things in a league of their own, in order for people to remain interested in them. And I know a lot of people have been like, okay, well, what's the purpose in buying an iPad Pro now, especially now that this has iPad Pencil integration. And there's still some things, that the iPad Pro has that some people will desire. And so it's still a relevant tool. This has got 32 gigs of onboard storage. Now, the thing with Apple is you can't expand the memory. And, I was completely unaware to the fact that there were these little exterior card readers, or micro SD card readers, that you can buy and plug into the Lightning port, and you can access photos or videos from other devices. This little device right here, I just learned about. I got it at Best Buy the other day. This is a little GoPro Lightning adapter, and basically what this does is it's for a micro SD card. It's only for micro SD card. And so what you can do is you can, get some footage from your cell phone or your GoPro or whatever camera you're using. And say if you want to use iMovie to do some edits and stuff like that and edit your videos, then you just simply slide the micro SD card into that little slot, plug it into the Lightning port, and there's your access to all of your photos and videos and things of that nature. So this was $29.99 at Best Buy. I'll drop a link in the description, if that's something that you guys are interested in. And I was blown away when I found out about this little tool, because I think that iMovie is a really good tool for editing and doing all kind of cool little things. And so, now that I've got this, I mean, this iPad has just become that much more valuable to me, considering that I'm a reviewer, and I have a couple of different methods where I edit my videos and upload content to YouTube for you guys to watch and enjoy. So yeah, but we've got 32 gigs of onboard storage here. We've got a beautiful IPS 2048 by 1536 pixel density display. It is a Retina display, and so obviously, it's a gorgeous display, as it typically is on Apple. We've got a pixel density of 246 ppi, and we've got, again, as I mentioned, the A10 Fusion chip with 64-bit architecture, and so the chip is blazing fast, man. I mean, it's going to do everything that you pretty much need to do in a hurry. This is the Wi-Fi and cellular version. I did get this from Verizon Wireless, and so this does have cellular capabilities. If you're somewhere where you don't have Wi-Fi, then you don't need to have it. You can just turn on your cellular data and you can go ahead and do what you need to do. We are running the latest operating system, which is Android iOS 11.3, which is the latest software. And so that is running on this new iPad here. And so that's good. And so that's pretty much, what we've got, for the spec sheet. But it's a powerful little device here, and you're probably going to be able to do pretty much everything that you can do here on an iPad Pro at a much more affordable cost. And so, this $330. It makes a lot of sense. Performance has been nothing but stellar, as you can see, just breezing through applications. And I've got cellular data off right now, so I'm just connected to Wi-Fi. But you see, as far as performance, let's go to Netflix. Things just pop open. Okay, get out of Netflix, go to my home security app. Okay, Touch ID. We do have Touch ID present, so touch that, get into my home security system. And you see me in the glare. Shout out to the Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus. Let's go ahead and get that Bible app going, U version. And yeah, that just pops open right there for you, so you guys get the idea. And then, swipe up from the bottom to access a lot of the applications and things that you have open. If you want to get rid of them, you just simply swipe up to get rid of those. And here is our control center here. And so, you know, this typical stuff from Apple, but nonetheless, I mean, things seem to be moving extremely snappy, and that's been like that since I cracked it out of the box. I mean, so can't say that there's any issues with the performance at all whatsoever. Like I said, I mean, you know, this little processor that's in it, even though it's a dated processor, I mean, it's still a powerful, effective processor, a tried and true processor, if you will. So don't think just because it has a processor in it from a device that was out a couple of years ago, or a year and a half ago or so, don't think by any stretch of the imagination that it's a slouch. I mean, it's the, you know, the H10 Fusion chip is still a really good chip, and I think it was a good implementation on Apple's behalf to go ahead and upgrade to that processor and bless us with this technology here. Now the cameras, we've got on the rear, we've got an 8-megapixel camera. On the front, we've got a 1.2-megapixel camera for, you know, for FaceTime, and you know, the cameras are decent. I mean, they're decent enough, you know, for what you need to use them for. I mean, you know, they're not going to be, you know, iPhone 8, 8 Plus, iPhone X, you know, caliber cameras or anything like that. I mean, but, you know, they get the job done. I mean, as far as FaceTime, you know, the rear 8-megapixel sensor, you know, I mean, it'll take some decent photos, you know, but nothing compared to the camera technology that Apple is working with right now. And so if you want better cameras, then, you know, if photography is something that you're planning on using your iPad for, then you're definitely going to want to step up to the iPad Pros, because the iPad Pro, the 10.5 and the 12.9 2017 variants, I mean, the cameras on those tablets are absolutely mind-blowing. And actually, I've got a video up for the 10.5 inch one, where you can check out, and I put some samples of some still shots and video footage. Absolutely amazing cameras on the iPad Pros. And so again, I mean, you know, if you're in the photography and you want to do some photo capturing and make videos or record videos with a tablet, then definitely the iPad Pro 10.5 and 12.9 of 2017 is the route to go. If you're with Android, I mean, you know, you can get some really good cameras on the Samsung Galaxy S3, which is their latest tablet that also came out in 2017. And that was actually the tablet that came out to rival the iPad Pro 10.5 inch. And so those are both some really good tablets, some really good cameras. I think those have to be some of the best cameras that I've ever seen on tablets. You know, so I mean, if you're looking for good camera and video quality on a tablet, then those are the routes in which you need to go. These are decent, you know what I mean? But again, you know, the tablet costs $330. I mean, you can't expect the camera to be mind blowing. You know, Apple, they weren't going to put a lot of that top tier camera technology in a $330 device. It'd be nice, but highly unrealistic. So battery life, I mean, you know, Apple, they claim that this thing gets 10 hours of use before the battery dies, and I'm not going to sit there and use any device for 10 hours long. I mean, it's just not going to happen. But I will say that this battery, I definitely do not have to charge this battery every night. I mean, since I've had this iPad, I mean, I've charged the battery maybe once every 2.5, 3 days, if that. So I mean, the battery life is incredible on this tablet. It is absolutely incredible. So definitely you get great battery life. I mean, you do got the lightning connector now. As far as charging from 0 to 100, I mean, that's going to run you anywhere, you know, from an hour and 45 minutes, maybe a couple hours, maybe a little over a couple hours from 0 to 100. But depending on how you use this thing, I mean, obviously that's going to determine how much juice you run out, you know, how fast you run out of juice. But I mean, just moderate usage like myself. I mean, you know, I check my email, browse the web, you know, look up different little sites, you know, stuff like that. Phones that I'm selling on OfferUp, you know, I get little messages from people that want to buy my devices and stuff like that, and I message them back and forth. I do little stuff like that. You know, I don't do a bunch of downloading, streaming. You know, every now and then I'll connect up to my sound bar through Bluetooth and bump some cuts on Spotify. But you know, that's nothing that's really intense. You know, so for me, in the way that I use the tablet, battery life has been completely stellar. Now, you know, you may be a heavy user, a heavy downloader. You may use this thing for everything. Like I've got phones, I've got Windows computer. You know, I've got all kinds of different methods to surf and web browse and pretty much do everything that I need to do. So, But I mean, this is definitely a do-it-all device for a fact. You can do it all, with this iPad here, no question about it. So I have to say, for me, battery life has been stellar, and I think that you guys would be pretty impressed with the battery life as well. All right, so additional features. I mean, again, this is nothing that I haven't seen before. I mean, we've got the latest operating system, 11.3. Touch ID. I mean, we don't have 3D Touch or anything like that. I believe 3D Touch may be on the iPad Pros. But again, I mean, nothing that's mind-blowing or earth-shattering. Definitely nothing here with this package that you haven't seen before coming from Apple. But it's a good it's a good consolidation of pieces from the past to make a very, very solid device here in 2018. And so, if you take a look at, go ahead and get my little case off of here. Just, the build quality. I mean, this is very reminiscent to the iPad first generation. As far as just how it looks. I mean, I think the first generation iPad was a little bit wider than this. So this is a little bit slimmer. The form factor is completely the same. The dimensions from last year's $329.99 iPad, all those things are exactly the same. I mean, so you can see how thin it is, when looking at it from top to bottom, side by side. I mean, it's very thin. We do have oleophobic coating to help reflect fingerprint smudges and lighting. But this is just classic Apple build and material. This is the antenna line there to pick up the cellular connection. If I do want to, connect to cellular data. The two bottom firing speakers, I mean, they sound rich and clear. They got a little bass to them. That's nothing new. I mean, Apple, they always produce good sound quality from their device. But that's another thing too. If you want better sound, then, you may want to jump up to the iPad Pro, because this is a 2-speaker system. The iPad Pro has 4 speakers. And another thing with the Pro is, depending on the orientation in which you're holding the device, the sound, the tablet knows the direction in which it's being held. And so whether you're holding it like this or you're holding it like this, it's gonna adjust and project the sound depending on how the tablet's being held. I mean, so you're gonna get a better listening experience from the iPad Pro. Another thing with the iPad Pro is you're going to get the higher gigabyte versions. This comes in 32 gigs and 128 gig. They completely skipped over the 64 gig, which I kind of scratching my head about that. But now that I've got this, I mean, I guess that really doesn't matter. But for somebody that doesn't want to pay an extra $30 for this little accessory, if you want a 64 gig iPad, then you may have to go with one of the older options, like one of the iPad Air, the 2, or maybe the iPad Mini 4, which I think is the latest iPad Mini. Or you can go with the Pro. I mean, I know the Pro 10.5 and the 12.9 of last year in 2017, those start off at 64 gigs, and I believe they go all the way up to 256 or 512 possibly. But, you're talking about some serious cash. I mean, because those are still pretty pricey, but overall, I mean, for the price, for $330, I mean, this is a great little option to go with. I mean, very, very, very much so in iPad. Everything that you were able to do on any other iPad that you've owned, you're going to be able to do here. So don't look at it as though, oh, okay, this thing costs $330. I mean, it must be like a dumbed down iPad. No, this is an iPad for sure, through and through. And the fact that it's being offered at $330, that's pretty solid. I mean, that's the best deal that you can get right now on any tablet. And again, now it's featuring integration for the Apple Pencil. There's new education apps and things that are available now in the App Store, to really help push the education limits for our youth. And so, can this thing replace Chromebooks? In my opinion, probably not, because I know that Chromebooks are being utilized by a lot of different school systems, and it's an excellent tool. Kids, they really seem to adhere, to the Chrome OS. Not to say that they couldn't with iOS. But I think that products like this is a good option. because there's more ways than there's more than one way to skin a cat. You know what I mean? And if the ultimate goal is to drive education and greatness and learning for our youth, then this is just another good option, another good tool that will help push the envelope on our children being educated. And so, kudos to Apple for blessing us with another option, to go along with all the other great options like Chromebook and any other tools that are being used in schools to help educate our children. I mean, this is just another tool. But I also want to say, even though that was pretty much the main focal point of the keynote presentation when they unveiled this iPad is good enough for anybody. If you're looking for, a nice tablet that has great build quality, that's powerful enough to do just about everything that you needed to do, you can get, I've got my Bluetooth keyboard here, I can just pair it up, with the keyboard and get my type on, do everything that I need to do. You can get yourself a little keyboard there if you don't want to use the digital keyboard that is on the screen. You've got that option. You got the little smart case here, to keep your investment protected. This is just the smart case that folds over the top. So when you close it, it locks the device. And then when you open it, it unlocks the device. But there are cases that I've seen where it covers the whole iPad. I mean, so, there's a back plate that fully protects the iPad. And then it just has this same cover where you open and close, and it locks and unlocks the device when you open and close it. But this device is for everyone. I understand that it was directed more towards the youth in the keynote presentation, but anybody that's looking for a great iPad, this is it, man. $329.99. Like I said, this is the cellular version, so this one is a little bit more pricey. I think this one is $450 for the cellular version, but even still, that's not a bad price considering what this thing does and what it is. So thank you, Apple, for blessing us with another option to help educate, our kids and really push education. And just an all-around solid tablet that's going to do pretty much everything that we needed to do, whether it's work, game, play, edit, movies, videos, whatever, social media, other kind of media, Netflix, Hulu, all that kind of thing, man. This is a one-stop shop tablet, all for $330, man. This is a great option. And you're not going to find anything else out there like it right now today. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Pristine review of the iPad 6th generation. Again, nothing new, nothing really groundbreaking, but Apple found a way to take, a bunch of different pieces from past material and put it together to bless us with this. And I can recommend this tablet to anybody. And it's at the right price point. It's definitely not going to break the bank, and it's going to do everything that you need to do. I think any and everybody that gets their hands on this tablet, unless for whatever reason you want to jump up to the Pro, you're gonna enjoy this little iPad. All right. So if you like this video, smash that thumbs up button. Be sure to share this video for anybody that you guys may know it's in the market for a tablet, or if anybody that you know is interested in this new iPad and they want some more information, they want to see some live coverage on it, see it in action a little bit, get some more information, or just hear someone talk about it, be sure to share the video with them. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to expose yourself to tons of more videos that I've done like this one, and definitely stay tuned because I've got so much more content to come. And a lot of devices, being released here, and 2018 is going to be, it's a big year. A lot of good stuff coming out, and I plan on having most of it here at Pristine Mobile Tech. So make sure you guys keep it locked. Hit that notification bell so whenever I upload, you can be the first one to check out my content and be the first one to drop me a comment, some feedback, some constructive criticism or criticism, whatever. I'm always here to listen. I'm not a hypersensitive. I can take it, and I've learned so much from you guys. And so I appreciate you guys, all my subscribers. Whether you've been rocking with me for a minute or you just newly subscribed, welcome to the Pristine movement. I appreciate the subscription and all the love and the support. And, man, we're going to keep this thing rocking and rolling. All right. So you guys already know, definitely stay safe, get spiritually fit, because we're definitely living in the last days, and keep it pristine in everything that you do. This is the iPad Generation 6. I'm your man, Pristine, bringing you the content. I'm out. Catch you guys in the next video. Yeah.